Fight tough.
What's up, everybody? It's Mover. Hope you've had a great week. Today we're going to do a Mover Mailbag. If you're new to the channel, it's a feature I do where I take your questions that you sent me to my email address, movermailbag@cwlemoine.com. Also, when the COVID-19 crisis is over, I do actual physical mail. So if you send me something in the mail to my P.O. box, we open it and talk about it. So it's a fun little feature just to answer some questions. So let's get right to it. All right, so the first one is a bit of an angry email, and this comes from Vitaly. His subject is DCS YouTube videos. As most of you know, I've been doing a lot of DCS World videos lately because DCS has a feature for, I think, 2 weeks where everything is free. On that note, if you use the promo code MOVER, you'll get an additional 10% off the 50% off sale that they're running right now. So MOVER, and the 10% will go to Folds of Honor. So it's a kind of a worthy cause, and it's a good way to get a module or whatever a little bit less expensively. So Vitaly's message is, Dear CW Lemoine, how can you go like that, completely unprepared, not knowing any key commands and even gauges, and make a video and post it on YouTube knowing that there will be many DCS players watching you? Don't you feel embarrassed before people? Don't you want to prepare the bare minimums before piloting a plane so that people would enjoy watching it? What image of yourself do you think you draw as a real-world pilot? I know that this might sound bad, you might just get automatically defensive because of this, but I didn't mean to be a bad person. I'm just sharing with you because I watch your videos and I feel disappointed because I feel like you could actually show really amazing things to me in your DCS dogfighting YouTube videos and give me a feeling like you actually care, even if on a basic level, about the thing that I care about and I love to play and watch people play. I watched your recent tryouts of the Russian mods, the SU-27 and the MiG-29, and I know there are only tryouts, but I can't even imagine sitting down in a simulator without understanding anything. Not even the bare minimums like gauges, HUD, weapon implementation, and even the control mapping. It's really so baffling to me that I actually decided to write you an email. I know it's just a simulator, but if you come at least a little prepared, you will win respect from people not because of you being a real pilot and they are not, but because you treat what they love the way they treat it. I don't know how this email feels. I hope it doesn't sound too bad. I also hope to see more videos from you in Russian jets such as the MiG-29 and watch you do the whole shebang in those insane cockpits. I learned the cockpit manual in 2 days. 1 day I spent on reading the manual and 1 on familiarization. If you only spend even 1 day on preparation, then your videos will be much more fun to watch. Instead of constantly cringing and feeling like I want to cover my face with my hand, lower my head, and feel embarrassed for you. I know you're just playing for fun, but you're also uploading the YouTube videos. So you strive to share your experience with others. If only you learn a little before you make the video, you'll make it so much more fun. Thank you, CW Lemoine. Kind regards, Vitaly. Okay, so let's clear that up right now. Yes, the videos in DCS have been fun. It's a fun game. It's a game. I have enjoyed trying out the various modules, and I will continue to do so until the 18th when they're no longer free, because there's a lot of modules to try and not a lot of time to do it. I don't get too much in the weeds with it because part of that is fun. It's fun figuring it out and seeing what's what and doing various things. Specifically, the flanker and the MiG-29 video, they're not clickable cockpits. It's from the Flaming Cliffs mod. Once we got the controllers mapped, there really wasn't a huge deal. Obviously, I'm not going to go out and do red tactics, even though I do that for a living. There are limitations within DCS, and my participation within DCS is very limited. Specifically when it comes to the F-16 and the F-18, there's a lot of stuff I just can't do, and I won't do. And I know a lot of people say, why don't you do full-up wars? Why don't you dogfight other people and stuff like that? There's just stuff that I am not going to risk for the sake of a game. It's fun to go try the Huey. It's fun to go try the flanker and, you know, mess with the systems and see if I can get it working. The biggest problem I have is that the controls are not mapped from the factory. So it does take a little bit of time to figure out what's what and where everything is and all that. And a lot of times, for whatever reason, DCS insists on mapping my rudder pedals to a throttle or flight control, and I don't know why, but that takes some time to do. I am getting better at it. Ray has helped me a lot with getting the Lua files correctly. I've been streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/movermedia if you want to check that out. But at the end of the day, this is for fun. I think it's more entertaining when it's funny and fun to do than it would be to be some clinical trial. DCS videos on this channel are not the most popular videos I do, so you know, this is not a DCS channel. It's not a gaming channel. If you want to watch me do DCS gaming, you go to twitch.tv, and you know, that's more gaming centric. But on YouTube, that's not really the point. And I understand your concerns, but at the end of the day, you know, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to apologize for it, but I understand where you're coming from. But don't think that I don't respect the game or the developers. There was somebody else who made a comment that I didn't respect the developers. I think they've done an awesome job, and I think that the product they put forth is really good. Especially, you know, me, when I was a kid coming from Jane's ATF Gold and all that, I mean, this is way better than what I had. But, you know, I'm still not going to push it too far, and you know, I don't have a whole lot of time to sit there and read a manual for 2 days and then make sure. It's not so much understanding the systems, it's figuring out how the controller mappings are, and that's always the biggest problem. Is I know what to do, even with the F-16 or the Hornet, I know what to do, but trying to translate that with muscle memory versus what an A-10's throttle versus an F-18 stick, or an A-10 throttle and an F-16 stick. I mean, it doesn't always translate, so that can be kind of a problem. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you for the feedback. Noted. Next question. Hi, Mover. I just saw your civilian ejects himself from a fighter jet video. Wanted to echo a lot of your points from a first-person loser perspective. In my case, it was summer of '92. I was a first-class Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps midshipman. Between junior and senior year, that's the NROTC, by the way, I was offered a FAM flight in an F-14, a dream come true for someone raised on Top Gun. I had been shown many different ejection seats prior to my workup for this experience: A6, Hornet, S3, F-14. Several times people asked me if I'd trained prior to the flight. I said yes because I didn't want to look like I needed a refresher. Clearly I did. I wish they'd asked me to show them rather than taking me at their word. Once I was in the cockpit, one of the checklist items was to arm the ejection seat. I think I followed the procedure for the S3 rather than the F-14. What I ended up doing instead of arming the seat is fired the guillotine switch that severed all the straps so I could separate from the seat in an ejection. My straps got loose and it smelled faintly of gunpowder. Yikes. Needless to say, my ride was over before the engine fired up. The promised super silent ride never happened. I wrote up my version of events for the mishap report, slunk home, never to darken the cockpit of a fighter ever again. Love your videos. I can't wait to read your Spectre series. Please don't use my name or email. Chagrined in Virginia. P.S. My ex-wife made me tell that story at a VFW in front of an F-14 pilot and a bunch of war vets. I've never been so embarrassed. That sucks. It is a little funny, but it definitely sucks. But I understand. I mean, stuff happens. Our egos sometimes take over when we rush through things and we go, oh yeah, I got it, I don't need it. And then you end up, oh well, there goes my one chance at riding in an F-14. So yeah, whew, that sucks. Sorry to hear that. Tyler says, hey Mover, not sure if you've covered this before, but I thought some of the folks might be interested in what it means to fly in Fingertip. When I first heard a Viper guy talking about it when I was stationed at Kunsan, I thought it must have something to do with light pressure on the stick. I made some dumb comment, got laughed at before they explained it was a formation. Keep up the great work. I've got 2 sons that are Air Force pilots. I really enjoy your channel. Tyler, oh cool. Thank you for raising 2 awesome sons, and thank you for your service. Thank you for everyone's service in your family. Yeah, Fingertip, it's because it looks like this. So you've got lead, middle finger. I'm not going to flip you guys off. 2, 3, and 4. I mean, that's what the formation looks like. Fingertip is a very close position. It's either wingtip spacing or between 3 and 6 feet, depends on what platform you're on. So just wingtip clearance. It could be that close. But yeah, it's made to fly close, usually to get through weather, or for some, Navy calls it parade. But to get through, usually we use it for weather, otherwise we have data links and stuff like that. I've talked about that on another video. But yeah, that's what Fingertip is. It's a good skill to have, but not necessarily tactically relevant. Thank you for your email. So how do they pronounce your name? As a fellow Moine in police work, I'm curious, how badly do they butcher your name? Love your videos. Keep up the great work. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Chris. Moine. Well, Lemoine. I hope I'm even pronouncing. It'd be really funny if I'm not pronouncing your name right, but it gets butchered. People call me Lemoine, which I'm like, I Lemoined your mother last night, Trebek. Lemoine, for whatever reason, they moved the I into a weird place. Some Frenchmen have argued with me in the comments that it should be Lemoine, which that's not going to happen. But yeah, it does get butchered quite a bit. It is kind of a, yeah, you'd think it'd be easier because Des Moines, Iowa, you know, Lemoine, Des Moines, whatever. Funny. The next one is from Cameron. Cameron says, Mock Altus Mover, my name is Cameron, and I've recently found your channel. I'm still making my way through the awesome Spectre series. As a plane captain in the Marines, I get to talk to pilots, and your videos have helped me understand what the pilots say. I do not know if this question has already been asked, but I wonder if you could shed some light on what the process is like for getting an audiobook done. Do you get to select who does the narration? When will the rest of the Spectre series be in audio format? Thank you for the awesome videos and books. P.S. Marcus was probably one of my favorite characters from the first book, Semper Fi. So the way I do it is ACX, which is the Audible Creative Exchange. So you put up the offer and people audition for it. So you have like a script, like, you know, first 15 pages or something, and they read it. And if they like it, you make them an offer, or if you like what they do, you make them an offer, which is either a royalty share or you pay them up front. And from there, they go into production. And once you're in production, they upload the chapters as they go, and you can request changes or whatever. And then at the end, once you're satisfied, they you hit publish, and then Audible will look at it and they will decide, and then it goes on iTunes and Audible and anywhere any audiobooks are sold. That's what I've done. The first audiobooks, I was very new at this, so Spectre Rising and Avoid, Negotiate, Kill. I was very new, didn't have a whole lot of experience with narrators and stuff like that, and I chose a narrator, but I don't necessarily, in hindsight, think he's a great narrator, but not necessarily a fit for this genre. So I changed narrators later on, and I think Nick's a lot better. He's done the Absolute Vengeance series. He's done Archangel Fallen, and we're currently working on Executive Reaction. It's how long it takes him to go through it. Typically, you know, we've gotten a good system going. I've got some friends that help me, but it's a very lengthy process, so it's not the easiest of things to do. But thanks for the question. That's first somebody to ask about that one. This is from Chris. He says, question writing. Sorry if this has been asked before, but as someone who's never taken any type of pilot training, are there any good resources to use for writing aviation scenes, pilot scenes, and fiction stories? Specifically, I would be involving the F-18E and F. I mean, there's obviously open source stuff. What I actually would recommend, it's the Legacy Hornet, but it's still going to get you in the ballpark. I would recommend going into DCS and just familiarizing yourself. As a writer, if you're trying to write, you know, specifically for something, you know, doing as much research as you can. But in general, I think if you did DCS and you did the Hornet, what that would allow you to do is kind of get a feel for the Hornet, because that's basically the same. And then once you have that baseline, you can ask questions. You can go find open source information online and stuff like that. But I think the DCS world might be your best, because it'll show you missions and kind of some of the comms and how we talk and stuff like that. That's probably your best bet, at least in an open source environment. Hey Mover, recently read something about Air Force having a shortage of pilots. Can you please explain this topic if it's true? Also, I'm currently a high school junior, and I know that the new Top Gun movie comes out this summer 2020. Do you think it lessens my chance of getting a pilot slot in the future, being the fact that the movie will most likely inspire people to join and be pilots? Thank you for everything you do. Make them tell you no is my motto I'm going to live by to become a pilot. Become the pilot I dream of being. Thank you for your time. There is no shortage of applicants. So when we talk about the pilot shortage, in general, there has been a pilot shortage, although I think most sources are now saying not so much. In general, there is a shortage of pilots, but it's not a shortage of recruitment. It's a shortage of production, which is at the UPT level, which is just a factor if they don't have enough instructors, or you know, the Navy side in primary. And it's retention. So people are hitting their 10-year commitment and going, I'm out, going to the airlines, see you later. I think the current economic crisis and the status of the airlines will change that a lot, so you won't have the retention problem because people are going to stay on longer until the airlines recover, if it is a prolonged recovery. But in general, there's never been a problem with qualified applicants, at least not since I've been doing this. So I don't think Top Gun's going to change it. I mean, there may be more. But, oh, by the way, Top Gun is now December 23rd, 2020, so it's been moved to a Christmas release. But anyway, it's never really been an issue of when people say, well, there's a pilot shortage, the standards are lower. Not really. There's not a shortage of applicants. So hope that answers your question. Make them tell you no, though. Don't worry about what your chances are. Just go after it and be the one that they accept. All right, last question from Anne. Anne is actually an author. So Anne Bell Feinstein. So if you check her out, www.annbellfeinstein.com. Dear Mover, I'm an avid fan of your YouTube channel. Just to make you laugh, I have to tell you about the background noise I use for my own writing. I listen to ATC, usually JFK or LAX. I love to catch up with you in person one day. I love to pick other authors, writers' brains. I love thrillers. I devour them quickly. Yours were no exception. My average time is under 3 hours for a full-length book, assuming I'm not disturbed. Now on to my litany of questions. 1. When did you know you wanted to write? I don't know about that. I started writing when I was 13 after my mom died, and I tried to get it published because I thought I was going to be like the youngest bestseller thriller writer ever, and I got one rejection letter and gave up. But after that, you know, I think once I finished my first real novel, I kind of got the idea that, hey, I want to be a writer. Like, this is what I want to do. Number 2, what made you go the self-published route versus traditional? Impatience. I wrote my first book, and I thought it needed to be out there, and I simultaneously put out a couple of pitch letters that were unseen, and then by the time they were seen, they decided to pass. And then once you're in the self-published world, it's very hard to get back out because it used to be a scarlet letter. I don't know what it is now. Now I'm to the point where I'm doing better than if I had a publisher. So I guess it worked out. But yeah, that's why I did that. Is the Make Him Tell You No group only for aviators? I've applied this philosophy to my writing as I intend to follow the traditional publication route. No, I mean, it's mostly for aviators. But you know, it's typically the Make Them Tell You No group, which, by the way, facebook.com/group/Make Them Tell You No, is mostly for aspiring pilots. So that's kind of, I mean, it's less about Make Them Tell You No, even though that's the kind of the group motto, and more about helping with good information from people who have been there and done that. What does your average writing day routine look like? God, it used to be I would write within like 1,000 to 2,000 words a day. When I could write a book within 3 months, I would get up in the morning, go run with the dogs, come back, settle in, and start writing and try to finish a chapter a day. Now it's all over the place. It's terrible. I'm so busy with YouTube and other projects I'm working on. It's been tough. So anyway, thanks for your email, Anne. I hope you're doing well in your writing career, and I appreciate you reading my books and watching the channel. All right, so that'll do it. If you want to send me something, Mover Mailbag at cwlemoine.com. That's stuff for the channel. If you send me stuff at cwlemoine.com, I'm going to assume it's not really for the channel. However, if you tell me it's for the channel, then I'll use it on the channel. And if you're looking for the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Make Them Tell You No. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Excuse me. Oh, no. Oh! Meant a lot of that. Usually fine with the doors off. All pots too. Don't be a douche. Rule number 1. Make them tell you no.